Let's jump right into this explainer. Imagine stumbling upon an ancient city that wasn't built on solid ground, but literally right on top of the ocean itself. Well, hidden away out in the Pacific, near the island of Pompeii, that exact thing exists. We're talking about a completely forgotten civilization, and absolutely one of the most mind-blowing architectural mysteries on the planet, the impossible city of Nan Madol.
Now, you'll often hear people call Nan Madol the Venice of the Pacific, but honestly, that comparison barely even scratches the surface. You know, Venice was built on natural marshland using standard wood and brick. Nan Madol is just an entirely different beast. We're looking at a crazy labyrinth of nearly 100 artificial islands, all connected by canals. And get this, it's built directly out of giant stone blocks placed right onto the seabed. From above, it seriously looks like this massive, heavy stone maze that's just magically floating on the water.
To really wrap your head around the sheer physical impossibility of this place, you've got to think about the weight of these materials. Just one of these massive basalt columns can weigh several tons. I mean, we're talking heavier than a small truck. Now put yourself in the shoes of the builders. They had to move thousands of these gargantuan blocks across the water and assemble them with just breathtaking precision. And remember, they did the whole shebang without heavy machinery, no cranes, literally zero modern engineering. Even today, moving stones of this size would take some serious heavy-duty equipment.
And this right here brings us to a huge, glaring gap in our historical understanding. Okay, so archaeologists believe these ancient people used canoes, rafts, ropes, and just sheer brute human labor to build the city. But the problem is, no one has actually been able to fully demonstrate how that's possible on this kind of scale. It's just so huge. The local legends of Pompeii, on the other hand, offer this astonishing alternative. The story goes that two powerful brothers used magic to levitate the stones right through the air. Now, obviously, historians are going to reject the magic theory. But actually, the fact that this legend even exists, it tells you just how totally baffling this construction truly is.
So when you look at the logistical nightmare of this whole operation, it is just mind-bending. The nearest basalt quarries were located incredibly far away from many parts of the city, meaning they didn't just have to lift these multi-ton stones, they had to transport thousands of them across the open ocean, probably on rafts. And then they had to stack them perfectly into these towering walls, and they had to do this over and over and over again, thousands of times, just to build an entire city on the water? No way, right? Just imagine arriving here a few centuries ago. Early visitors actually describe the experience as entering another world, and honestly, it is so easy to see why. At high tide, as those canals filled up with water, this towering stone metropolis would appear to literally float. You've got these narrow waterways, ancient temples, dark stone passages. It all created this intense, almost supernatural atmosphere that is completely unlike anything you'd see at the pyramids of Egypt or Machu Picchu.
So, who actually lived in this oceanic fortress? Well, Nan Madol was the absolute seat of power for the Sodalere dynasty. And these guys, they were the fierce, absolute rulers of ancient Pompeii. From inside this massive stone compound, they governed the entire region. They demanded total obedience, exacted incredibly heavy tribute, basically making Nan Madol the absolute, unquestioned political and religious center of their entire world.
But as you might guess, absolute power comes with a really heavy psychological price. Life under the Sodalers was strictly, brutally controlled. Over time, their relentless demands bred some really deep resentment among the people. And when you couple that with the secret sacred ceremonies and the ancient burial chambers hidden away within these walls, the city itself started to become deeply associated with dark spirits and supernatural curses. For your average, ordinary person back then, this was a terrifying place. You simply never went there. Ever.
It's actually incredible how these legends of curses carried right over into modern history. Get this, in the early 1900s, a German governor decided he was just going to scoff at the local warnings. He went right ahead and entered one of Nan Madol's forbidden tombs, totally disturbing the ancient remains. And the very next day, he was dead. Now sure, skeptics are always going to call it a coincidence, but this chilling little event completely solidified the city's dark, supernatural reputation all over the world. So, after centuries of this iron-fisted rule, the mighty Sodalere dynasty finally falls. A legendary warrior named Isokelekel arrives with an army, a brutal conflict kicks off, and the dynasty is violently overthrown. But here is the ultimate twist. After winning this massive, seemingly impenetrable stone fortress, the victors didn't even stay. They just inexplicably abandoned it. They literally packed up and left Nan Madol to the silent jungle and the crashing ocean waves.
What on earth could cause the total, permanent silence of these canals? Was it the aftermath of a brutal war? Maybe a sudden disease? A massive rebellion? Or even a catastrophic natural disaster? The honest truth is, we just don't know. It's truly one of the greatest puzzles of Nan Madol. I mean, think about it. A city that required an almost unimaginable amount of effort to build just suddenly empties out, leaving the jungle to slowly, quietly swallow up its stone pathways. And here is where things get really crazy. The most astonishing reality of all, 0 written records survived. None. There are no books, there are no handy inscriptions carved into those massive basalt logs, no ancient construction plans hidden away in the ruins. An entire, highly advanced civilization just vanished, taking every single one of its architectural secrets with it. We are basically staring at a historical masterpiece, but we have absolutely no instruction manual.
Naturally, this utter lack of evidence is basically an open invitation for some wild theories. On one side, you've got fringe writers suggesting Nan Madol is actually a surviving remnant of Plato's Atlantis. Now, archaeologists firmly reject any Atlantis connection. There's 0 direct evidence for it, obviously. But the sheer popularity of that theory, it really tells you everything you need to know. The city just feels so impossible that people instinctively reach for myth and science fiction just to make sense of it.
And just to add another layer to this mystery, modern technology is proving that we might actually only be seeing the tip of the iceberg here. Marine researchers have been sending down underwater drones, and they've actually found ancient structures extending deep below sea level. Because of rising seas and changing coastlines over the centuries, the city was likely way larger than the labyrinth we see today. The ocean is quite literally still hiding massive pieces of this giant puzzle. So as we wrap up this explainer, we really have to ask ourselves, if the builders of Nan Madol could create an entire floating stone city out of multi-ton blocks, what other incredible knowledge has humanity just completely lost to time? When we look at Nan Madol, we aren't just looking at a pile of rocks, we're looking at lost human genius. This ocean city stands as a silent monument, leaving us to wonder just how many other incredible discoveries have simply disappeared into the waves forever.